So today we're wrapping up the basics of Chime. We got Adam again. We got Kory joining us now, and we're gonna get through this. So, guys, where should we take this? Because this is now we're on lead follow up. Is that what we're on now?
This is conversion.
Oh,
so first we did kind of some lead gen stuff, then we did some follow up stuff. We're going to kind of bring everything together so that we get the process of identifying the leads, following up the leads, and now we got the website set. We've got targeted lead gen going on. We've got good solid follow up. What does that follow up look like in more detail to set appointments? Because that's really like my goal. Like somebody asked the other day, I was yesterday in the group. Right? Like, what's your goal when you're talking? Like, what's your my goal is I need to figure out how I can help them. Like everything else, like property alerts, appointment, like that's all detail. But the main thing when I reach out to somebody, how can I help? Do you need me to back off? Do you just need property alerts? Are you looking to refinance? You need a lender? What can I do to help you? And once you identify that, then the path for conversion is going to be great, because you got some buyer or renter that signs up on your website. You got some smart plans and AI bot going on. Well, that's just kind of a general shotgun approach. Once you identify what their situation is, and you go like, oh, guess what? Well, I can help you this way. Now you have that connection, and you're going to build and maintain a relationship to then convert them into a client. So that's what I want. That's what I want us, the troublesome trio up here. That's what I want us to talk about and help others with the basics of how do we get them from the computer to right in front of us.
Right. The cool part is that the three of us we all do things kind of similarly, but we all do things kind of different. And so what's cool about this is you're going to get probably three very different opinions with all the same underlying tones. Kory is, back in the day, Kory was what I considered the phone animal. And that's how I met Kory. I think I actually met you on the phone. I think you actually called me because I registered on your site.
I think so, yeah.
Classic.
But then Kory's way of doing things. Kory, tell us a little bit about you, because I don't think a lot of people. I know a lot of people watching this know who I am. They know who Adam is. They don't know a lot about you, and they should know a lot about you. Go for it.
A little bit about me. So I've been in sales a really long time, not necessarily because I don't know necessarily an aptitude for it or like a desire, but I just remember when I was really young, I realized that while I was pursuing a career in acting, I realized that if I did sales, I could work less hours and I can make a lot more per hour, and it would allow me to do other things with my time. So I got into sales, and I've done everything from selling diamonds to cars to gym memberships to anything you can imagine. And one time I was at like a cocktail party in Vancouver, my buddy's place in a neighborhood called Yaletown. And he said, he's had a couple drinks and I'd had a couple drinks. And he's like, hey, this is Vancouver, where the Olympics were in 2020, a very, very valuable, very high falutin real estate market, if you will. And he says, well, when are you going to start selling houses? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you get paid a percentage of the deal, right? For whatever you sell. I'm like, for the most part, depending on what it is. Yeah. And he's like, why would you get paid a percentage of 20 grand when you get paid a percentage of 20 million? And I was like, good point.
You have my attention, dear sir.
That started the road to real estate sales. Like within the next 3 or 4 months, I got licensed, and that was in 2010, in August of 2010. Yeah. So it's been like, almost 12 years. So yeah, I did that, and I started right out of the very gates. I realized, okay, people aren't just going to use me because I have a real estate license. In fact, family and friends and people like that are probably going to be reluctant in the start anyway. So I dug into Google pay-per-click right out of the gates 12 years ago, and just learned it myself and spent 3-4 hours a night every night for years, just learning how that system works, and started developing online leads with a competitor originally. And then Brett was the one that contacted me and said, you should check this Chime site out, just because he knew what I was doing and he thought this could be really beneficial. And this is in the beta testing phase for the AI assistant. And one of the issues I had was scale, because I've got 65,000 leads in the system, and having the ability to touch them all in a meaningful way and consistent, standardized way is very challenging. And the automation that Chime does, as well as the AI assistant, is just, I couldn't do what I do without it at the scale that I do. So that's basically where my wheelhouse is, if you will.
And it's cool. What always struck me about Kory is that you basically your role now, tell people your role. and what you do? Because it's different than most people.
Yeah. So my role is I have a business partner, a guy named Zaya, who's been on one of these as well. He's, sales and marketing side. He's just brilliant in front of people and connects really well and not as detail orientated as me, let's say. And I'm very detail orientated. So what I do is I operate as an ISA for the team. I'm kind of like a similar model to what Brett does, because the automation is so robust and because everything is standardized and it happens when it should happen. I just deal with the lower hanging fruit. So I spend about 2 or 3 hours a day making calls, and my goal every day is 10 conversations. So 10 5+ minute conversations for lead gen. And then I just tee that up to Zaya and then to some overflow agents and stuff like that on the team as well. And yeah, basically that's essentially what I do. Is I'm a rainmaker. I don't even live in the province where business is done. I live in Alberta, where it's cold as shit, as I mentioned. And my business is in the Lower Mainland in Vancouver, which is about 1,500 kilometers away. So I, through Chime, have a virtual number that has a 604 number, which is the area code of Vancouver. And when I call people, they just assume that I'm calling from there. And oftentimes I'll come clean once I have a conversation. I'll say, I'm actually not even in BC. And they go, what? And I go, yeah, I'm one of the co-founders and co-owner of this company. And here's how we do it. Is I handle the research phase, and I get all the information and listings and set the tours up for you. I'm super fast to respond. And then when you want to see a property, my good business partner Zaya will step in. They go, oh, wow. And then when they start engaging with me through the site and they see how responsive I am, it's a big differentiator between other teams and ourselves, right?
Yeah, let's okay. So now that we know the basics of you and we know what Adam does and how Adam does and how I do things, let's take this on the conversion part of it. Everybody has their own idea of conversion, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with Adam. Adam, you've talked briefly about the goals of what you have in conversion. What are your 3 goals when you go to new lead comes in, you're trying to convert? What are your 3 main goals with converting that lead?
I want to find out how I can help them. I want to educate them on not only the process of buying or selling, but what it's like to buy or sell with me and my referral partners that I have. So it's kind of the whole process, kind of similar to what Kory said, was basically like, okay, well, here's how we do things, right? And then I'm teeing up agents with leads that have raised their hand and I've spoken with on the phone that are 90 days or less. And then I bring them in to help basically confirm the appointment. So typically, like if somebody needs, like the buyers, they need financing, they need that kind of help. I'll bring them in at 90 days if they're motivated to basically say, okay, look, so you need to get pre-approved. I can send you a list of lenders. Go to your local bank. I tell them about the 14-day credit ding protection, and I tell them that if you can gather this list of documents here, and you can get pre-approved, we can get you moved in within 90 days or less. Does that sound like something you would like, or is that going to create a problem if you move in 90 days or less? So based on that question, that's kind of confirming their motivation. And once that happens, I tee them up. Okay, cool. You're going to be working with Amy or Stacy, depending on what area they're in. I kind of cut the territory in half, and that's really what I'm looking to find out. And once they're in that 90-day period, they know about the process. I've already learned how I can help them. And I'm basically setting everything up for the agent to take it from there for their production part of the paperwork and paperwork. I hand it off, and I just basically monitor everything. And if something happens on my site, I let the agent know so that they can react.
Kory, how do you do it? What are your 3 goals when you get a new lead and you're trying to convert? What are your 3 goals?
Like I really believe I've worked online leads for so long, and I've gone through, ups and downs of these are absolute nonsense and these are extremely valuable. And I've been right. I've been wrong when I think they're absolute nonsense. It's usually just like a mindset and like a headspace. The automation, because of the conversion rate being so low on online leads, needs to be really robust, needs to be really standardized. And then when I talk to somebody on the phone or I send them a bomb video, the goal is to provide a lot more in value than I'm taking in payment. Because usually when you talk to a salesperson, you can smell that commission breath. They're trying to get some money, right? And I get it, particularly the average agent's not doing very much business. They need this deal. So yeah, I just always, like, for instance, if I talk to somebody on the phone, I'll usually follow up with a bomb video. And let's say there was a listing, they'd favorited on the site. I'll actually go into our MLS system, Paragon, here in Vancouver, and I'll find the title, I'll find the property disclosure, any sort of documents that are attached. I'll attach that to the email, and then I'll put like a little whiteboard that says bread on it. And then I'll send the video. And the response rate of those videos is so much better than anything else. They're not necessarily a buyer or a seller right now, but I'm planting the seed with way more value than I'm taking in payment, because I'm taking nothing in payment. They know that I'm not making any money off of them. They're like, wow, I'm 2 years out and this guy is still doing something for me. And I set them on automation with voicemail drops and text and things like that make it look like I'm actually just thinking of them, and I'm touching base every 6 months or whatever it is.
Right.
And if you do that for a long enough period of time, like, sure, they could go use somebody else, but like in the back of their mind, like, this guy is on top of it. And the way I frame it with them when I talk to him is I say something to the effect of this is how hard I'm willing to work when business really isn't on the table for 2 years. You should see how hard I'm going to work when we actually start working together.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so one question I'm going to ask Kory, because I know he said this before, and I just want this to be said in this recording. You've talked before about your time, your conversion time, how long that takes for the life cycle of curiosity to close.
Yeah.
What is it? Can you share that with everybody?
I actually have it broken down by lead source. I track pay, cost per click, cost per lead, cost per closing is the most important one in my opinion. That one is absolutely critical. So by lead source, I can actually look and I have a report that I can actually see which lead source, what the minimum deal number of days was for a closing in a time period, and what the maximum, what the average. And what I just did is I just factored that for my Google pay-per-click, which is the majority of our business is from Google pay-per-click. And the average person probably thinks they sign up and you can convert them in 6 months or a year. With us, with all of the deals we did last year, it's like 762 days on average. So what I'm doing now is I created a filter in Chime that says source Google pay-per-click, and then goes back to that time in that time frame within about 100 or 200 days of that 762 days ago. And I'm starting to talk to those people as if they're hot leads, because statistically they are.
Right. And that is why I asked that question, because that's what I knew. And like that is very important. You can get lost, you can get analysis paralysis, you can get lost in the data, but if you have data with direction and a process set up, you are going to help yourself convert more leads. So that's why I asked that. and your number of lead sign up to closing for individual lead sources might not necessarily be what mine is. Mine is what it is based on a number of factors. And you can use generic amounts that you hear from other people, but you need to be tracking that, because if you're tracking that, you can communicate with those people based on where they are in the process, because statistically they are, and your conversion will be much higher because of it.
See, one of the things that I get a lot of messages, a lot of people private message, a lot of people email me, and they always go, well, where do we start? Where do we start? How do we convert more of these? My conversion is terrible. My leads are horrible. I get this all the time.
Yeah.
And really what the place that I tell people they need to start is find out who your target audience is. Okay. Kory just broke this down. He goes, yeah, I break it down by lead source. Everything should be broken down by lead source. It's no longer you have buyer leads and you have seller leads. Yes, you have buyer leads and seller leads. Where do those leads specifically come from? Create follow-up based on where, and Adam and I talked about this on the last call.
Yep.
Have that follow-up based on where that lead came from, because you should know how long it takes to convert. Kory knows that it's mid 700 days. How long are your smart plans and your automations that follow up with those people?
Longer
Probably
than that.
Close to double that almost.
Yeah.
So, and that's a long time.
Yeah.
Kory has 5-year follow-up plans, 3-year follow-up plans.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yep.
But guess what? It works.
Oh, go ahead, Kory.
When you think about it, like when you think about trying to convert these leads, if you're on average, if you're a Google pay-per-click lead or a Bing pay-per-click or whatever it is, and it's for all of them, the average is hundreds and hundreds. We don't know in what market what it is, but for mine, it's over 700. That's 2 years, right? That's 2 years. So if you just get into online lead now and you put in 3 months or 6 months worth of budget and you're expecting to convert a lot of these leads, you'll convert some depending on how many you get. But statistically at scale, it's 2 years.
Right. Even our organic leads, all of our leads at this point are organic.
Yeah.
Our organic leads take 6 months. Organic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, and these are people that are like, hey, we want to do something. And even them, 6 months.
These are people
Right now, what's being converted into appointments in my database is around 18 months. So last Thursday, so I'm down here in Southern Alabama on the coast, was ready to take the garbage out last Thursday. Phone rings. It's 571 area code. Okay, it's probably an agent that found my number somewhere, but I'll answer it anyway. So I answered it nicely and professionally. This person was literally I can hear him walking. He's like, I want to buy a house. Oh, okay, cool. It helps. So I'm scrambling in my Chime to figure out where the number to see who this guy is. He registers. He's like, my wife and I just got done with the lender. We're pre-approved for X amount of dollars. We want to buy a house. We're looking at West Side, and just rattles all this stuff off. So I'm taking notes, cranking this out, and I finally bring him up, and he registered on my Chime site from a Facebook dynamic ad that I was running on August 30th of 2020. He never responded to the bot. He never opened any emails. He never responded to text messages, nothing.
Yeah.
18, like I was literally like, who is this guy? I have never, usually I see the names and I can at least have some sort of recognition. No idea this guy was in my database. 18 months after getting everything, never opening anything, but seeing my name and all the stuff, he called my Chime number and I referred him out, and he's already under contract.
Awesome.
Less than a week later. So like, that doesn't happen a whole lot, but I'm seeing that right now, that 18 to 24 months when I first got my team account with Chime, those are the leads that are starting to actually reach out and go. So it takes longer than you think. Google is within 6 months, Facebook is 6 to 12 months. There's a Venn diagram. Like, you'd be surprised that needle shifted.
There's people that are going to sign up and transact within 6 or 7 days and 30 days. Those exist, and there's going to be ones that don't ever buy a place,
right?
And everything in between. I'm just talking about the average that you can sort of communicate to based on that statistical reality.
Yep. Right? Look at your bell curve.
Let's take a look back though, because if we take a look back, right? So where are we in real estate right now, right? So I see a lot of agents. So, well, my conversion, like I'm not converting these leads. Here's the truth. Back in the day, like when you had an MLS book, like my dad had one of those, which is crazy. I still remember it. But anyways, so the MLS book, you had to connect with that lead on a different level. They either had to walk into your office, they had to call, they had to interact with you. They got to know you. Nowadays, they have no idea who we are. And so one of the things, so I want to do another 3 series here, and I'm going to go first on this one. I want to go 3 things that help convert leads better. And the first thing I talk about, and I talk about this with anybody that I've coached, anything that I've ever done, build trust with that lead. The more trust you can build with that lead, the better. So how do you help conversion? Build trust with the lead on their level. Kory does it in his way. He does it with bomb videos. He does it with being quick on the ball response. Adam does it with smart plans. He does it with voicemail drops. He does it with caring, finding out about what the buyer or seller is looking for. I do it kind of a little bit of combo of both of those. The second thing, and I just kind of brought it up, video. Video converts like crazy. I mean, It doesn't matter how you use video these days.
Just use
video is going to help you. And I know you might be afraid of the camera.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of the camera. People like you for who you are. And then number 3, if you tell someone you're going to do something, like, hey, I'm going to send over, like Kory's doing, hey, I'm going to send over that disclosure form. Send it to them. If you tell them you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 things that have helped me with conversion, and we have a pretty good conversion rate. I look like Kory, cost per closing. I don't care about anything else other than cost per closing, cost per lead, whatever. Cost per closing, I can improve on that.
Yeah.
So Adam, 3 things people can do to improve their conversion.
I definitely am a fan of the video. Definitely gets responses. Individual, like I do canned videos, but I kind of mix it up a little bit. I think I shared one in the group where I was in my truck in my driveway and I did like a showing behavior request or whatever. And I did that, and then I changed my shirt. I drove to like the park 6 blocks away, so I get a little different background. I can kind of change them out every few weeks, so they don't get bored. And but individual ones like Kory's method, especially when I have a good conversation and we have a good connection. A lot of the times when I'm working on now is my 2 referral partners, Amy and Stacy. We're on camera together. And I'm introducing them, and as I'm talking to them about the process, And they're like, okay, yeah, cool. Send me some stuff, whatever. You guys seem great. And they have basically indicated that they haven't hired, there's no appointment. They've indicated that they're open to working with us. I run a smart plan just for them of basically if they're going to work with Amy, I have an Amy smart plan. I got a Stacy smart plan. So it's me and her, but more prominently her. I'm kind of like the one kind of queuing everything up so that they can start to get to know her a little more and about the different processes. It's almost like an interview style that seems to help because I'm still educating not only about the process, but with us and using video to basically humanize everything, which I've talked about in the past.
Right.
The other thing is kind of it's a mix of Brett and Tristan. It is voicemail drops with the good old Tristan nudge text.
Yep.
And I use, like, Tristan typically says, just, let me know, and that's about it. I take it a step further, and depending on the communication method I just use to reach out, I'm nudging them in that direction. So I'm directing them to, hey, I left you a voicemail, let me know. Just sent a text message, let me know. Just sent you whatever it is, just left a message, let me know. I'm directing them to where they can find the information, and then I can see through the different metrics, okay, well, am I actually connecting with this person here? Yes, okay, my conversion is probably going to be better. But if I'm sending emails and the nudge text and everything else, and they don't open the email, okay, I lost the person. Now I have to figure out how I can rescue that.
Right. Cool. Kory?
Video. Yeah. Video's the number one. And just like you said, people are reluctant to do it because they're afraid it won't look good, or the production value, or the background, or yada. And everybody's like that. If you go look at the first videos I ever recorded, not even in BombBomb, but I used to use a company called Viral Marketing, which you get interviewed like twice a month or 3 times a month or whatever it is. And then they edit the videos together. When I look at those beginning videos, they're embarrassing, obviously, right? They're just not good. But everybody that you see that you think is good on video wasn't at one point for the most part.
Oh yeah.
It's just reps. It's 800 videos. It's just reps, right? Like when I do BombBomb videos, like I'll do 20, 25 BombBomb videos in a day some days, just throughout my follow-up. And and you just consistently do it. You don't even get necessarily a response right then, but over the next couple hours or the next couple days, some of those people will respond, and those are the low-hanging fruit, right? Yeah. I think something I'm building out right now that I think is a really great idea is using tags to trigger certain specific automations. So most of my automations use pipelines, right? So nurture, hot, warm, whatever it is, that's good. But when there's something more specific into it, for instance, one of my tags is future listing. If I'm talking with somebody and I know they're going to be selling in the future, whether that's 2 months or 2 years or whatever it is, I'll tag them future listing. It allows me to go into the CRM and find them, obviously, because those are really valuable in our market. But I'm building out about once every quarter voicemail drops right now that speak to that. So once they go in, maybe 2 or 3 months after they go in, they get the first one, and it's going to touch them every 4 months or 3 months for the next couple of years. Those with like a nudge text, like Adam said, that is a way to through automation, touch people that are really valuable, but not screw it up. Those people, if you, and you can filter it. So if they're in your showing pipeline or your I'm a current client right now pipeline, that voicemail drop won't go out. Only if they're basically a long-term nurture or somebody that you haven't talked to in the last 3 months. And that stuff, if you do it at scale, particularly if you focus on lead flow, is freaking magic. Just ask Brett about that.
Right. Identifying
it's magic.
And identifying where they are is key to that. We've talked about that in the recent past. And I'm a big fan. I've got a few smart plans that are voicemail drop only. Some just voicemail, some voicemail and nudge. Like I was running Facebook for a while and using lead forms, because I had a better conversion of them filling out the form and then just scrolling on than I did with actual traffic on the site. So I got to go with what works. So I did the lead forms, and then I had them on the AI automation and stuff like that. But my voicemail drops were one voicemail a week. And then when they responded somehow, I added a tag, and then that moved them into a group so I could sort those ones out. Okay, those are the people that responded somehow. So when I look at my pipelines, I say, okay, these people are warm. I'm going to look at, voicemail response group. Okay, they probably are better off with a phone call. I'm going to call those people and then I'm going to manually text everybody else and figure it out how they want to be communicated with is another way that I use groups. And when I'll have smart plans that are only email, only text, only voicemail drop. And when they respond, they go into each group based on how they responded to that communication medium with a tag.
Yeah.
So when if they respond with like a call or a voicemail drop, they go into that group, and I know, okay, this person, these people here that they want to be called or voicemail dropped. These people want to be texted. These people want email. These people do not want emails. And it's just organizing everything. And then when you remember, right, like if your partner comes home and they didn't tell you about the hairstyle or going to the salon or whatever, like, oh, you got some highlights in it. It looks really great or whatever. Noticing little things like that is what's going to get a better reaction. Just like remembering things about a lead, marking them and organizing them. And okay, cool. You're a dog, you got a dog owner, your son's going to graduate high school, and you prefer calls because you like that voice connection. That is what's going to help your conversion as well.
I'd say one of the biggest issues that I had for the longest time, and I could just see in the Chime forums and things like that, is organization of the database. That is a big. I've been doing it 12 years, and I've just in the last number of years really wrapped my head around the way that I think it's best. So yeah, pipelines are what stage they are in the process. Tags are specific things about the particular lead, like future listing. I have one as a rapport. I have sent bomb video as a tag, just ways to look and sort of know what I've done with the lead. And then groups, because of the volume of leads that I have, one of the ways to organize through groups that I shared with Adam a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, is one of the groups is waiting for their one of the groups is waiting for their reply. The other one is need to reply to, and then the other one is adjust alerts. So it allows me to have them in multiple groups like that, knowing what I need to do with them, as opposed to having to go through the lead and look through everything. And
what's nice too is you can automate behaviors off of that, so that, like, I have one. I was showing an agent yesterday I was helping. I have one automation that uses a conditional question for property alerts. So if they have a property alert in their system, I'm sending out a text message just to make sure that they don't, asking if they need any adjustment or not. And if they don't have one, then they go into the need alert adjusted group. And now, okay, those people I need to kind of hammer on a little bit higher so that I can actually get them to actually get them on a more accurate property search. So yeah, I definitely agree. Organization of database is super critical, because if you don't like it, it's hard enough identifying the hand raisers from the tire kickers, but then when you can't find the hand raisers among the tire kickers, like, it's like you're drinking whiskey before 10 a.m. It's a nightmare. So
yeah. Hey, easy on the drinking whiskey before 10 a.m. It's 5 o'clock.
I'm from Wisconsin. It's okay.
No, it's tequila. It has to be tequila.
Hey, I'm glad we're on the same page there.
we got a question in here. Sheila asks, curious, where do you label a lead in the process if you have never spoken to them?
I use a variation of what I think Adam does, which is a not ready pipeline, which is a long-term nurture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Long-term nurture, not ready, no response. That's another one that I've used. Adam, parting thought.
Biggest thing is instead of trying to get to the end result, so I was divorced 6 years ago. When we went through that process, my ex-wife and I were basically like it's our divorce. It's not the kids' divorce, right? We had to do what we had to do to take care of, mom and dad first, because that's what our process is. But we always kept the kids in mind of how it was going to affect them, right? So in the same way, I think keeping in mind that, yes, you want an appointment, you want a closing, but focusing on the connection as a means to conversion instead of the conversion itself, I think is going to help with mindset and strategy to basically say, okay, so somebody's never contacted me. They haven't been on the website in 3 months. How can I connect with them instead of how can I convert them? I think that's a key thing that I think a lot of people are missing, that I really want to kind of stress, as just that mindset of come from a place of helping, not selling.
Yep.
That's a great point. It's not how can you get an appointment? How can you get a deal? Though that is the ultimate goal. It's determining whether this is the right person to work with for them and for you. And if they feel and they understand that you're just asking questions to get to their needs, and if their needs are, I'll just leave you alone for 2 years and set you up with the kind of automation that you need as far as like listings and sold prices, and they know that you're not just hammering them into a deal right now because you want to get paid. There's a level of trust that's built there. And the average agent doesn't do that. The average agent needs this deal right now. And if you're not it, they kind of just brush you aside, and they feel that, right?
Yep.
My parting thought is this. There are a lot of people that do follow-up and conversion a lot of different ways. And there's no right way and there's no wrong way. There's what works best for your business. Lots of different ways to run a business, lots of different ways to do follow-up, lots of different ways to do conversion. Here's my parting thought. Do what works best for you. Take parts of what we talk about, take parts of what you see in the group, take parts of what are in the Chime help guides, take parts of all of that and make something that you can do consistently. Consistency is key. So whatever you do it consistently.
Yeah.
That's my parting thought. So guys, thanks for joining. This was super fun. Glad to see you guys again. And I'm going to go back inside and warm up now.
I think you need to light a fire. You need to light a campfire or something.
Dude, my computer literally booted me off Zoom because it was too cold.
I thought I was like, oh, he's having some frigid issues over there.
But it was so loud inside. I wanted to come out here and be with you guys and keep it quiet. So you guys have a great rest of your day. And hopefully we get to do something like this again. Kory, it'd be fun to get you back on. The three of us should do another one of these soon.
I'd be
and
down,
talk about some
sure.
other fun stuff. So,
I know. I know there's some other stuff coming up in the pipeline quick, whatever. So we can kind of let that schedule go, and then we can. I got all year, so we're good.
Take care, guys.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Guys.
See ya.
Okay, bye.